Welcome back to Efficio's Transforming Public Procurement Microcast series, where we're here to break down key aspects of the new regulations. The new act is finally live, and we're here with Ben English, who's responsible for implementing the Procurement Act at the Ministry of Defense. Welcome, Ben. Thanks for joining us. How are you feeling now that we're live?
Well, thank you, Yehui, and thanks to colleagues from Efficio. We're here. We made it. Long time in the making, but it's finally here. My reflections are that it's a collaborative and sustained effort, and for me, tremendously grateful for colleagues across the department, but also across Whitehall and colleagues in Cabinet Office to mark this as a pretty success of achieving this goal and going live now. I think we're seeing it as a beginning of a transitional year, embedding the changes, understanding what it means for us, and I think there are opportunities for sure. This is about looking at, and we're focusing on those early adopters. Who are the trailblazers, if you like, those who are going through this and understanding the learnings, and then more broadly, we're sort of looking at the impact. What is it having on our procurements and on our people, and there's more we can do to support. So tremendously looking forward to it and glad it's finally here.
Indeed, there is a lot of positive things about the Procurement Act. But we do hear a lot of concern around the resource impact on having to publish a lot of information. How do you see this new level of transparency benefiting you?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think this is something that paints a spotlight on understanding, breaking down what public procurement and how we undertake our business. Transparency is an opportunity for us to sort of be clear about, and for industry as well, how do we undertake our business? What are we looking for? And how does it work throughout that process? Look, I'm under no illusion that this is a renewed sense of focus, and we're going to sort of work through it and understand what it means for us and our procurements. But this isn't something that we should be frightened of or utilize in a way that we need to be using it ultimately for our positive and work from that. Obviously, there's a challenge of not allowing sort of unintended consequences or provide that to our adversaries in our particular, from a defence particular point of view. But I think, the way that we've been part of this process and then setting up now for success, continuity for our procurements and how we're going to monitor, that's part of what we'll do in the next few months to sort of understand its impact and what that means.
Right. And I'm sure in terms of access to the information for the Ministry of Defense, you also get to see what your peers are doing in terms of their procurement activities.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think this is what is embedded in the Act. It's a dialogue at the end of the day, to be clear. Early market engagement is a new lever in there. We already do this, but it just reminds us that actually understanding what the market is able to provide, what is it that we as contracting authorities want, and have that embedded throughout the life cycle of our procurements that ultimately will hopefully lead to better outcomes and more clear outcomes, as well as hopefully saving money rather than sort of evolving and tagging on sort of our procurements through the life cycle. So yeah, there's opportunities, and that's how we're trying to pitch it.
Right. And in terms of Cabinet Office as the policy lead, what do you want to see from them?
So what I would like from the Cabinet Office is, obviously we've got the National Security Unit for Procurement. That is part of the sort of national security lens that we'll continue to engage with and understand that guidance, but also through the National Procurement Review Units providing that guidance to us. So constant communication, lessons learned from the centre and feeding back into the centre of how it's running and what it means for our procurements.
Yes, we're really looking forward to seeing how Cabinet Office utilizes the data to benefit both contracting authorities and suppliers alike. Well, thank you so much for coming. Please do keep in touch. We hope to have you back towards the end of the year to see how things are progressing. I hope you enjoyed today's microcast. Please do post any thoughts or comments in the chat and get in touch with Ben or myself for any future topics you might want to hear about. We will see you next week.